So yesterday we had a gathering of the brahmacharis and the sannyasins, which we have every Friday afternoon. So it's our group, our class. We all go to class. Have to keep that going to understand ourselves because it doesn't end. And we did a straight walk, which is my straight walk was walking from here to there. And some people walked to a chair and back a few times. Anyway, it's a very, very, very simple practice. But the amazing part is that when you're doing it with awareness, and it's awareness that changes everything. So every day we walk, and we're usually thinking, maybe humming, maybe dancing. But if you're really walking with awareness, even a very short ways, it seems like something else happens because we're watching our body, we're watching our mind, we're observing our feelings. And that it happens in the walk itself, there's awareness. And then you sit and you reflect on what just happened. And that's another layer of opening because everything then becomes symbolic. And symbols are very powerful and very valuable. So you might wonder why, for example, Buddhism, which is a non-theistic religion, has like a gazillion images of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Because they're symbols, the same as we have so many symbols here. And the light itself is a symbol. So when I come to satsang, I wear jewelry because it reminds me of Swami Radha getting ready for satsang and putting on all her special things. Because in this position, you feel pretty like it's a sacred place to be. So you want to honor that and respect it and be as goddess-like as possible. And goddesses have a sense of humor, by the way. So in my straight walk, I just walked from one kind of flower patch to another, the petunias, like from the yellow flowers to the petunias and back and forth a few times. And the pond was there. And one thing that came to mind was a dream that I'd had the night before. And also in my walk to the petunias and the pond, there is a gate. And above the gate, there's some flags that represent the Kundalini system in a different form than we have it. They're kind of rainbow colored. But they do have the bija sounds in there. So I was noticing the flowers, the season, the breeze as I was walking. The feeling, I was walking on grass, I was walking on flagstones, I was walking on concrete. I had an interesting feeling path for my feet. And the pond is very beautiful and it had lotuses and it has a frog. And once I sneezed and the frog jumped into the water. And that was kind of delightful because it started swimming. It usually just sits on the lotus pond. But when I sat down, and one thing that almost got me off my straight path, because part of the straight walk is just walking between 2 points. So it's a way of training the mind so that you don't go everywhere. You keep your mind focused between here and there, not here, there, and everywhere. But I was observing peripherally, and in my peripheral vision, I noticed one of the stone Buddhas, a standing Buddha, had fallen over. And I really wanted to go fix it right then. But then I realized, no, I just have to keep walking. I'll do it after. And it was a real restraint for me to hold myself back. And so that was one of the biggest learns from my walk, was that there would be time later to do those things that seemed like kind of an emergency in the moment. Wasn't really an emergency. There's a stone Buddha, maybe laying there for a while. I knew it was there, I'd get it later, and I did. So sometimes you just have to take time. You just have to pause when we think it's like have to do it now. No, we can wait. But the other thing was that the dream that came to my mind was I had a dream the night before that Swami Radha was telling me something, and she was lying in bed. Um, she wasn't so well, but she was talking about a gate. And she said, the gate opens and shuts, opens and shuts. You just have to stand back and let it happen. And so it was a bit of a mysterious dream to me. It seemed like a bit of an esoteric message. It felt like it had something to do with dying, actually. Death, perhaps, that the gate opens and closes, opens and closes. And so when I reflected on it, I thought, well, not the gate yet, but just my position. I realized I was inside the inner courtyard. And in the Kundalini system, the inner courtyard is the entry into the heart lotus. And one of our questions was, what do you really know? And I realized I only know devotion. I know that devotion is valuable. So that was one of my insights. I was in the inner courtyard, but there was also a gate. And then today, I realized the Kundalini flags are flying above the gate. Swami Radha is giving a message. The gate opens and closes, opens and closes. And I thought, yeah, fifth chakra, gateway to liberation. So the gate could be that way to greater freedom. So the opening, when the gate opens to enter. And so the gateway is often the throat chakra, right? Because it's from the heart to the Ajna chakra, and then to that one at the top. Anyway, it's just like an unwinding sort of thing. It's not that I've solved it, but it was interesting how the Kundalini system decided to come into my very simple walk back and forth between petunias and the yellow flowers. And of course, I will still ponder it as like a dream, and I think it's a pretty good dream. And when I think of wisdom, I think that there is wisdom that comes from devotion. I feel like devotion is, well, I mean, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't had devotion, and possibly many of us would not. I felt such a deep love for Swami Radha, which I think anyone who is a disciple of hers has that. I think if you're a true disciple of any teacher, you have that. Because you know that they're doing everything in their power to help you enter that gateway of liberation. And that's what the temple is about. It's like being in the heart of Swami Radha, because it's her vision. It's a vision of light. It's a vision of embracing different cultures, different religions. And because in the end, we speak the same language, the language of the heart. Like all these different doorways, they're just entry into that center of light and wisdom and love. We have different symbols for them. Jesus, like that idea of sacrifice, giving your life to help others. The Buddha, I'll stay because they just have a little dust in their eyes. I'll help them. Yeah, all of the symbols, they're really about, there's something that wants us to find that place of love and act from it. And it's just so beautiful sometimes when I look around the ashram and see people like endlessly cleaning and cooking and sorting apples and digging in the garden and preparing. All of this intensity of karma yoga for purification that it serves the purpose of this place, which is to hold the people who want to loosen all of those burdens and the coverings of the heart. Because we all have it. We all have the light. I have 2 prasad readings. So you can close your eyes. These are both from Swami Radha. One relates to my entry into the heart chakra. The little lotus at the base is called the wishing tree. The wishing tree lies below the heart lotus. We can pick fruit from the wishing tree, words of truth and sweetness. This small lotus is the inner courtyard to the heart chakra. It is the way to approach the holiness within in an attitude of gratitude, awe, and wonder. It is symbolic of the process of discovering the divine within and the mysteries and awesome powers of the mind. So feel again into your breath, creating that beautiful, even rhythm, the lightness, the gift of life, and see yourself in your own inner courtyard. And ask, what is my heart's desire? Just let yourself sit, wait, and breathe. The next one is more a reminder. She says this is from Kundalini. Now that was from Kundalini Yoga for the West. This one's from Light and Vibration. The path of the light is the path of the heart. It could only be love that brings light into the heart. What else could it be?